This was a dying brand, and they were quietly slipping away into irrelevance. This is a tremendous boon for Meghan.
But imagine if we didn't mention that they were coming and they just showed up,
and that's the thing.
surprised everyone on the street.
That might be the best thing. What it does is it boosts the idea of a rival court based in Montecito, and it's now going to be enhanced, elevated with these royal connections brought into the fold. Suddenly, more deals will come in from the United States. Broadcasters interested again, publishers interested again.
Meghan and Harry own their kids' names. They own the domain names, they own the emails, they own everything else. When turning Archwell Foundation into Archwell Philanthropies, they said it was for a family thing so that their children could be involved. What's actually going on here is yet another one of Harry's wish lists. It's Harry and his sources close to Harry telling the news exactly what Harry wants to happen. And he's often disappointed. Again, he has said in the past that through friends and sources that he expects to get security any moment now. That was in January. He still has not got it. Nothing is going to change. There's already people coming out now and saying, Harry's got his security. But
there are moments in the long and exhausting Harry and Meghan saga that stop even experienced royal watchers cold, because for 1 second the polished mask slips and the real machinery underneath becomes visible. What surfaced in recent days, the carefully coordinated leak that a Sussex visit to the United Kingdom is being planned, that the children may come with them, and that Archie and Lilibet may finally be seen by the wider world, is exactly one of those moments. Because let us be clear from the beginning. This is not simply a story about a family trying to reconnect. This is not only the story of a son who misses his father, or a grandfather who misses grandchildren he barely knows. This is not, despite what carefully briefed journalists in New York and London are being encouraged to suggest, a soft, heartwarming chapter of reconciliation, forgiveness, and healing. Strip away every layer of emotional language, public relations. You are really looking at survival. A business that has been losing momentum, attempting its boldest relaunch yet. And the vehicle for that relaunch appears to be two small children. A 7-year-old boy named Archie and a 5-year-old girl named Lilibet. Children who have been kept almost entirely out of public view until now. Their faces have been treated like currency. Held back. Protected. Rationed. Not because their parents have always shown a consistent devotion to privacy, but because the reveal, when it finally lands, may be worth far more than the silence that came before it. Paula Frolic said out loud what many royal observers have been carefully avoiding.
Got here in a relationship with Meghan and Harry. This is a boy that was pretty much traumatised by media presence when he was little. He didn't really want any of this publicity. He was always attacking photographers. She's someone, ever since she was on the red carpet, who's craved publicity.
literally, the number one thing they cannot do is merchandise the monarchy and sell it.
And you say Buckingham Palace is very concerned about that?
Oh gosh, yes. Because literally, the number one thing they cannot do is merchandise the monarchy and sell it. Not to mention, the other thing is you look at someone like Kate, who has literally stopped naming which outfits and designers she is wearing.
To understand what is really at stake, you have to understand where Harry and Meghan actually stand right now. Not where they want the public to believe they stand, but where they are in practical, commercial, and reputational terms. The Sussex brand launched with extraordinary fanfare. The Netflix deal, the Spotify deal, the memoir, the documentary, the interviews, the promises of a new kind of public service outside palace control. It was supposed to be modern, powerful, independent, compassionate, and global. But it has not delivered in the way they promised. Not even close. The Spotify deal collapsed. Netflix has not exactly been overwhelmed by a steady run of culture-shaping success. Spare sold copies, yes, but the cost to Harry's relationships and reputation was devastating. The Archwell Foundation was declared delinquent by the state of California. The Hollywood doors that once seemed wide open began closing quietly. The partnerships, productions, speaking roles, and collaborations that were supposed to make them one of the most powerful couples on Earth simply never arrived at the scale their launch suggested. In commercial terms, the Sussex brand needs a reset. It needs something new. Something emotional. Something broadcasters cannot ignore. Something publishers would still pay attention to. Something that makes the world look again. And those who understand the Sussex operation have known for some time what that something would likely be. The children. Archie, now 7, and Lilibet, who just turned 5, are the most carefully guarded assets inside the Sussex story. not because Harry and Meghan have been consistent champions of private childhood. We will get to why that claim does not fully hold. But because the moment those faces are placed into the public imagination, the value of the reveal becomes enormous. Magazine covers, documentary footage, carefully released family portraits, brand partnerships, royal children, grandchildren of a king, faces the world has barely been allowed to see. That is worth money.
Would not about Harry desperate to see his dad, would not be about Harry wanting to introduce his children to their grandfather. That's an excuse, that's not the reason. The reason is Harry wants to remind the world, and particularly business people who are doing deals, that he is still part of this family. And so I think it's really a painful moment for the king to realise now that his son's...
Sources close to the situation say the plan has always been to deploy that visibility at the right moment. And now, it seems, that moment may have arrived. The irony is impossible to miss for anyone who has followed the story from the start. This is the same couple who left the United Kingdom saying they had to escape relentless scrutiny. They repeatedly spoke about wanting their children to have a normal life away from cameras, pressure, and royal expectation. Yet those same children, once shielded from the British press, are now being positioned for a visit where the entire world expects them to be photographed, discussed, and converted into a new emotional storyline. So how does a couple spend years saying they left royal life to protect their children's privacy, then pivot toward a very public UK visit where the children become the central fascination? Carefully, and through the media, a familiar pattern appears. A source close to Meghan speaks to a sympathetic journalist. A source close to Harry confirms something to another outlet. A third publication adds the emotional detail. Family warmth, the grandfather longing, the children finally knowing their roots, and the possibility of healing after years of estrangement. Suddenly, a commercial strategy is dressed up as a human story. The briefings tell us that Harry and Meghan are planning to bring Archie and Lilibet to the United Kingdom. The timing is being connected to the Invictus Games. The framing across outlets sounds almost identical. The children want to know their grandfather. The grandfather wants to know his grandchildren. This is a chance to heal years of pain.
The one that wants to be out of the public light doesn't want his children involved. And then that's why we see them get the back of their heads. The one that's desperate to utilise that. And utilise it.
On the surface, who would object to that? Who wants to be the person standing between young children and their grandfather? Who wants to criticize a son for wanting his children to know the country he came from? The emotional logic of the story is designed to be almost impossible to challenge. And that is the point. Because beneath the warm language, behind the soft briefings, behind every phrase about family and reconciliation, there is a strategy. A detailed, deliberate, commercially driven strategy. And people close to this situation are no longer pretending otherwise. One moment during the coverage said everything. On the same day, the reported Sussex UK visit appeared across major publications, with outlet after outlet pushing the family reunion narrative. Something else happened. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, made her return to Royal Ascot for the first time since her illness. And by every measure, she was magnificent, radiant, warm, graceful, authentically herself. A woman who had endured something terrifying and private, then fought her way back with courage and quiet strength. She appeared before the public not with a calculated leak, not with a media rollout, not with a manufactured family reveal, but simply as someone genuinely happy to be there. The crowds adored Catherine. Footage of her connecting with a young girl spread everywhere because it felt real. No performance. No script. No obvious machinery. Prince William's unguarded reaction to a joke about Aston Villa felt human. The curtsy to the king and queen looked elegant and sincere. The whole day carried something the Sussex operation has struggled for years to recreate: authenticity. Because the timing, according to those watching closely, was not accidental. The Sussex announcement about the children and the possible family reunion was positioned to push Catherine off the front pages on the very day she returned to Royal Ascot after a serious illness. That was the calculation.
Is Tom Sykes right that the children will be unveiled on this trip? Because this is always the calculation. How on earth can you keep the children not pictured if they are meaty members of the royal family?
They've done it before. I mean, they have come for the Queen's Jubilee and nobody saw the children. So they could actually bring the children, hide away. They don't necessarily need to unveil the children. And if they did, it would be just the most striking act of hypocrisy we've ever seen on set.
The idea seemed to be that Archie and Lilibet would become the story. The Sussexes would dominate. The focus would shift. But it did not work. Not even slightly. Every major British newspaper led with Catherine. The Sussex briefing barely broke through. And that failure matters because it exposes something the Sussex team has never fully grasped. You cannot manufacture the kind of warmth Catherine inspires. You cannot engineer it with sources. You cannot schedule it into existence. You cannot time a competing leak and expect genuine public affection to disappear. Her bond with the British public was not built in one announcement. It was built across years of quiet service, restraint, dignity, consistency, and the ability to keep showing up without turning every moment into a grievance. The Sussex team coordinated extensively. The briefings were timed. The outlets were selected. The language was calibrated. And the British public looked at the choice placed before them. Catherine returning to public life after one of the hardest years imaginable, or a carefully managed announcement about children the public has barely seen. The public chose without hesitation. It was not even close. On one side stood a woman who has earned affection through years of duty. On the other stood a couple whose every major move now appears designed for maximum commercial impact. The public saw the difference.
Dwindled. As people lost interest in what she and Harry had going on, she was going to move to the next generation. That was the final card she had to play, Archie and Lilibet.
It's Meghan and Harry who have put their children into the public domain. They are very determined to make sure that their children are as high profile as William and Catherine's children. They are very determined, to make sure that their children are the most famous children in the world.
What Catherine demonstrated that day, simply by showing up, is something no public relations operation can buy. The public's love for her is not a transaction. It is not built on reveals, teasers, or timed announcements. It is built on character. Years of watching a woman choose duty over comfort, service over self, grace over grievance. That is not a brand. That is character. And character cannot be faked. Now let us look at what insiders are actually saying, because the briefings to friendly journalists are only one side of the picture. The other side is what people outside the Sussex messaging circle are revealing. Through sources close to Harry, we are told that King Charles desperately wants to see his grandchildren. That Harry is hopeful a meeting can happen. That relations may be thawing. That Charles has advisors who view the feud as unnecessary and want to help rebuild peace. That underneath everything, Charles is a father who misses his son and wants his family back together. Some of that may even be true. Charles, by most accounts, is emotionally complicated. He does miss Harry, but perhaps not the Harry the world sees now. He misses the old Harry, the warm Harry, the funny Harry, the son who, in the eyes of many who knew him, has become almost unrecognizable. But people who are not functioning as Sussex mouthpieces are saying something very different. Buckingham Palace has confirmed there are no plans in the diary for Charles to meet Harry alone or with his family. No plans. That is not vague. That is not a gentle maybe. It is clear. The suggestion that relations have genuinely thawed is being met with deep skepticism by people who actually understand the situation. What insiders say we are watching is Harry applying pressure on the king through the media. He announces through friends, sources, and sympathetic journalists what he wants to happen, then waits to see whether public pressure forces the palace's hand. It is a familiar tactic. It did not work before. There is no strong reason to believe it will work now. Even establishment outlets like The Times and The Daily Telegraph have sounded cautious. The Times acknowledged there are no plans in the diary. The Telegraph quoted warm remarks about Harry's intentions while still noting the deep distrust that remains inside the king's inner circle. Even some outlets receiving Sussex briefings appear to be struggling to write the story exactly the way the Sussex team wants it written. That reluctance says a lot. Still, the briefings continue, because they serve a purpose even if the meeting never happens. They keep the Sussex name in the news. They remind the world that Harry is still connected to the royal family. They create commercial value whether or not one photograph of Archie and Lilibet with their grandfather is ever taken.
Prince William is so dead set against it. So,
Oh yeah.
this is Charles if he meets with the children going against William's wishes.
It is, but let's have a little compassion. Every grandfather wants to meet their grandchildren or get to know them. Does anyone want to be in a room with Meghan again? Absolutely not. Does anyone really want to ever be alone with Harry? No. So, is this a way to meet the children?
Now we need to talk about security, because this is central to understanding what is really being negotiated. Harry lost his Metropolitan Police protection when he and Meghan stepped back from royal duties. He has spent years fighting to restore it through legal challenges, and those challenges have so far failed. The briefings around this possible UK visit make clear that securing protection for the trip, and possibly shaping a longer-term arrangement, is a major objective. Paula Frolic, with sources on both sides of the Atlantic, was direct about it. Harry has given 28 days' notice under the agreement with the late Queen. He will likely receive security for this visit because he is bringing Meghan and the children. That is the immediate issue. But permanent security, the kind that would allow Harry to arrive unannounced whenever he chooses, is not on the table. That distinction matters enormously. Because what Harry wants is not simply safety for one trip. What he seems to want is the infrastructure of royal life without the obligations of royal life. The security detail. The diplomatic courtesies. The access that comes with senior status. But at the same time, he wants the freedom to operate commercially in California, pursue Netflix deals, give interviews, write books, criticize his family, and face no institutional consequence. There is something almost painful about the security question when you look closely. Harry gave up that protection as part of the choice he and Meghan made. Then he spent years arguing that removing it was wrong. He lost the legal battle. And here he is, 6 years later, still trying to regain what he walked away from. The whisper in royal circles is that this reveals Harry's complicated relationship with consequences. He makes choices, then treats the outcomes as injustices inflicted upon him rather than results of his own decisions. The late Queen rejected the half-in, half-out model at Sandringham. It was never on offer. The idea that Harry may believe a carefully timed visit with the children can reopen that debate suggests either extraordinary optimism or a serious disconnect from reality. Those who know the palace well tend to believe the second. There is a pattern here, and careful royal observers have tracked it for years. When the Sussex world struggles, when a deal falls apart, when the brand loses momentum, when commentary turns negative, the response is rarely to reassess and change course. The response is to escalate. Something bigger, louder, more attention-grabbing. And when nothing else works, the children appear. When the Archewell Foundation lost momentum, photographs of Archie and Lilibet appeared on Meghan's Instagram, carefully composed and carefully angled. When the Hollywood comeback stalled, travel and public appearances suddenly became proof that the Sussex brand could still command attention. Now, with the brand needing its biggest reset yet, the same pattern appears on a much larger scale.
Harry will never be able to have his children experience anything that he experienced, Harry, when he was growing up. This I believe is very hurtful to Harry. He is starting to see now that he is missing out and his children are missing out, and that Meghan is controlling everything. And I feel, is feeling very regretful. He is looking at Meghan as someone that is controlling his life completely, despite how he feels.
Because the children have never truly been deployed publicly in the United Kingdom. Their faces were kept away through the Platinum Jubilee, funerals, ceremonies, and family milestones, as if their visibility was being stored for maximum future impact. Insiders watching closely believe revealing those children on British soil may be worth more to the Sussex brand than any interview, documentary, or deal. Link Lauren, who has followed the commercial strategy in detail, put it sharply. As the clout dwindled and public interest fell, the final card remained. Archie and Lilibet were always the final card, and that card now appears to be in play. Now we need to talk about Harry himself, because there is a version of this story where Harry is not truly the architect. He may be, as he so often seems, pulled along by forces around him rather than fully steering them. People who knew Harry before all this describe a man who is genuinely conflicted about this trip. A man who truly misses his father. A man who feels the weight of what his children are missing. Cousins, family traditions, connection to the country he came from, and a royal heritage that has slowly been stripped from their daily lives. Diana, who has spoken with unusual candor and personal authority about Harry's state of mind, has been consistent. Harry is regretful. Harry is beginning to see what has been lost. His children will never have what he had. Summers, Christmases, polo matches, cousins, family rituals, and relationships inside a royal world that shaped him even as it wounded him. That reality, insiders say, is beginning to settle on Harry in ways that are genuinely painful. There is another emotional dimension that cannot be ignored. Harry has spoken publicly about regret over his mother's death, the time he did not have, the things he did not say, and the relationship he can never repair. People close to the situation believe that same shadow is now falling over his relationship with his father. Charles is not well. His health has presented real challenges. Time is not infinite. And Harry, sources suggest, fears repeating the mistake he connects to his mother. Waiting too long, saying too little, and realizing the window has closed before he walked through it. That is what makes this painful for people who remember the old Harry. He appears pulled in two opposite directions. On one side, genuine emotion, genuine worry about Charles, genuine grief about distance, genuine concern that his children do not know their grandfather, genuine longing for some version of home.
The hospital worker at the London clinic where the Princess of Wales had abdominal surgery cautioned for trying to sell her medical records. We don't know who this person is. We have not been told if there is any criminal action, but we believe there's not because she has accepted a caution. And according to Taz, the royal YouTuber is furious about this, writing, "I'm sorry. A medical professional tries to sell the Princess of Wales private medical information, and the ICO concluded that a caution was the appropriate response." Caution?
On the other side, a machine. A commercial machine with different needs, different timing, and different objectives. And the tragedy is that the machine keeps winning. The genuine feeling gets processed, packaged, briefed to journalists, and converted into public relations. By the time it reaches the outside world, it becomes almost impossible to separate real emotion from strategy. That is the real human story buried under all the spin. It deserves to be acknowledged, because whatever one thinks of the Sussex operation, Harry is not a cartoon villain. He is a man who made catastrophic choices and is now living inside the consequences of every one of them. The tragedy is that even this trip, even a moment that could genuinely be about family, is being handled in a way that makes the human story harder to believe. So what exactly is the strategy? Let us be precise, because the briefings have been precise even when the outlets carrying them do not seem to notice. First, security. Harry wants protection for this visit, and ideally a structure that makes future visits easier without the same legal and logistical barriers. The 28 days notice has been given. Security for this trip will likely be arranged. That box may be ticked. Second, the optics of reunion. Even if no meeting with Charles takes place, and at this point there are no confirmed plans for one, the Sussex team has already generated coverage framing Harry as the man who wanted reconciliation, the man who brought his children home, the man who tried. That narrative has value regardless of the outcome. If the palace does not meet him, blame can shift toward the royal household. From a public relations perspective, the setup is almost perfectly constructed. Third, and most importantly, the children. The reveal of Archie and Lilibet, whether through official photographs, leaked images, staged glimpses, or the simple reality that moving two children through the United Kingdom makes secrecy almost impossible, is the commercial centerpiece. Once those faces enter the public domain, they become assets. Brand identifiers. The foundation of the next Sussex chapter. Paula Frolic made a point worth repeating. Meghan has reportedly said to Harry, "Look at William and Catherine and their children. Their faces are shown. They are in the business of monarchy." What is the difference? From inside the logic of the Sussex world, you can understand why that argument might land. The Wales children are visible. They are beloved. They help humanize the future of the monarchy. Why should the Sussex children be different? The answer, which the palace understands even if the Sussexes do not, is that there is an enormous difference between children being raised inside a working royal institution and children being deployed by a brand that left that institution. One is public service. The other is something else entirely. And Buckingham Palace knows exactly which category this likely falls into. Now let us examine some of the specific claims being made around this visit, because several of them do not hold up under scrutiny.
The Queen, she merged her kids, and now she's merging her wedding. Of course she is. It's just natural, really, at this.
The first claim is that the visit is primarily about family. Sources close to Meghan have pushed that angle strongly. The children want to know their grandfather. Harry wants to reconnect. Everything is presented as organically driven by love, longing, and healing rather than commercial calculation. But Paula Frolic pointed out that Meghan does not seem especially worried about being booed. This is the woman who, according to a ghostwritten biography, once suggested she would never set foot in the country again. The thick skin she is now being credited with is a very recent and very convenient discovery. The second claim is that relations between Harry and the palace have genuinely thawed. We have already addressed this. There are no plans in the diary. That is the palace position. Any thaw exists, at most, in Charles's heart. He loves his son and may want his family healed, but trust destroyed on the scale Harry and Meghan destroyed it does not magically rebuild because a convenient trip is being planned. The third claim is that the children's faces have been kept private purely out of concern for their well-being. This one is difficult to sustain because the children have already appeared on Meghan's Instagram in photographs that seem increasingly frequent, visible, and commercially. If the Sussex position were truly only about protecting their children's privacy, the social media pattern would look very different. The whisper among close observers is that the privacy was never only about protection. It was about timing. It was about holding the reveal until the moment it could land with maximum impact. And there is one more claim worth examining. The idea that the British public will welcome this warmly, as if showing up with two beautiful children will rebuild goodwill that years of interviews, documentaries, legal battles, and public accusations have damaged. Frolic was honest about this too. The British public does not forget. They remember the accusations. They remember the timing of interviews. They remember what was said about certain people during moments of vulnerability. The children cannot erase those memories. They can only make people more careful about saying so out loud. Then there is the question nobody inside the Sussex camp seems willing to answer honestly. What happens to Archie and Lilibet if this works? If the plan succeeds, if the faces are revealed, if photographs go global, if the brand revives, then Archie, age 7, and Lilibet, age 5, become public figures. Not later, when they understand the choice. Not occasionally on their own terms. As young children folded into a commercial operation they cannot understand, evaluate, or consent to. Link Lauren said something that deserves to land with weight.
Absolutely diplomatically impossible, is it not, for King Charles and Queen Camilla to even fathom a meeting with Harry and Meghan, even if their heart did desire that. So this pressure...
They are not old enough to have a say in being used that way. That is not a side point. That is the whole point. The children who were held back from public view for years, supposedly for protection, are now being brought toward visibility at the exact moment that best serves the adult agenda around them. Not when they are old enough to decide. Not because they asked for it, but because the brand needs them. What does that tell Archie and Lilibet as they grow older? What does it tell them about why they were hidden for so long? What does it tell them about why the reveal happened when it did? Insiders who watch this closely believe these children may one day understand exactly how their faces, names, and royal connection were used. And that understanding may not be comfortable for anyone. There is another dimension that rarely gets enough attention. Archie and Lilibet are growing up as American children. American schools. American friends. California culture. Their daily lives are almost entirely outside the British royal context that shaped their father. Yet they carry British royal titles. They are 5th and 6th in line to the British throne. Their grandfather is King of the United Kingdom. That disconnect between the lives they actually live and the royal identity being commercially built around them will only become more complicated as they age. And it is not clear the Sussex operation is thinking deeply about what that means for them as real people rather than brand assets. Meanwhile, on the other side of the family, 3 children are growing up in a very different world. George, 12, Charlotte, 11, and Louis, 8, are seen regularly at public events. They appear at Trooping the Colour, Wimbledon, and Christmas services not as commercial tools, but as children slowly being introduced to an institution their parents serve with seriousness and discipline. The contrast in parenting philosophy could not be stronger. So how is the palace handling all of this? With weary professionalism and genuine diplomatic anxiety. Buckingham Palace has not responded to the reports of the planned visit. That silence is itself a statement. The palace is not confirming the trip. It is not commenting on a possible meeting with Charles. It is making clear through silence that this is a Sussex-driven story told through Sussex-approved channels, and the palace is not participating in it. Behind closed doors, however, there is concern about what a successful children reveal on British soil would mean for the institution. Because every photograph of Archie and Lilibet in the United Kingdom will carry an implied royal connection. It will remind the world that they are grandchildren of the king, 5th and 6th in line to the throne, and part of the family whatever their parents have done. That implied endorsement is exactly what the Sussex commercial operation needs, and exactly what the palace does not want to hand over casually. Then there is the Charles dimension. Paula Frolic made a point that deserves real consideration. Charles genuinely wants to know his grandchildren. That is not spin. That is human truth. But the people around Charles, including those close to Queen Camilla, understand that any meeting creates photographs. Photographs create narratives. Narratives create commercial value. And that value can be extracted by the Sussex operation without hesitation. That awareness makes any meeting complicated, no matter what Charles's heart may want. There is a broader warning inside all of this. The Sussex operation has evolved. The early moves were blunt instruments: interviews, documentary, memoir, allegations, and direct attacks. They caused damage, but they also caused backlash. They burned bridges. What is happening now is more sophisticated. The children are being brought forward not through accusation, but through the language of family, healing, and a grandfather wanting to know his grandchildren. That framing is designed to be unanswerable. It places the palace in a nearly impossible position. Welcome the visit, and the Sussex commercial operation wins. Refuse or remain distant, and the palace looks cold, while the Sussex commercial operation still wins. Paula Frolic identified this clearly. This is feeding the monster. The Sussex brand was fading toward irrelevance. Ignoring it may have been the right strategy. But it is much harder to ignore two young children arriving on British soil for the first time in years. It is hard to look away from Archie and Lilibet. And once the cameras click, the monster has been fed. Interestingly, some of the people most worried are not harsh Sussex critics. They are thoughtful observers who genuinely wish Harry well and understand the human pain in his situation. They worry that this move will make everything harder, not easier.
This was a dying brand, and they were quietly slipping away into irrelevance. This is a tremendous boon for Meghan.
But imagine if we didn't mention that they were coming and
Well,
they just showed up,
and that's the thing.
surprised everyone on the street.
That might be the best thing. What it does is it boosts the idea of a rival court based in Montecito, and it's now going to be enhanced, elevated with these royal connections brought into the fold. Suddenly, more deals will come in from the United States. Broadcasters interested again, publishers interested again.
Meghan and Harry own their kids' names. They own the domain names, they own the emails, they own everything else. When turning Archwell Foundation into Archwell Philanthropies, they said it was for a family thing so that their children could be involved. What's actually going on here is yet another one of Harry's wish lists. It's Harry and his sources close to Harry telling the news exactly what Harry wants to happen. And he's often disappointed. Again, he has said in the past that through friends and sources that he expects to get security any moment now. That was in January. He still has not got it. Nothing is going to change. There's already people coming out.
It was a dying brand, and they were quietly slipping away into irrelevance. This is a tremendous boon for Meghan.
But imagine if we didn't mention that they were coming and they just showed up,
and that's the thing.
surprised everyone on the street.
That might be the best thing. What it does is it boosts the idea of a rival court based in Montecito, and it's now going to be enhanced, elevated with these royal connections brought into the fold. Suddenly, more deals will come in from the United States. Broadcasters interested again, publishers interested again.
Meghan and Harry own their kids' names. They own the domain names, they own the emails, they own everything else. When turning Archwell Foundation into Archwell Philanthropies, they said it was for a family thing so that their children could be involved. What's actually going on here is yet another one of Harry's wish lists. It's Harry and his sources close to Harry telling the news exactly what Harry wants to happen. And he's often disappointed. Again, he has said in the past that through friends and sources that he expects to get security any moment now. That was in January. He still has not got it. Nothing is going to change. There's already people coming out now and saying, Harry's got his security. But
there are moments in the long and exhausting Harry and Meghan saga that stop even experienced royal watchers cold, because for 1 second the polished mask slips and the real machinery underneath becomes visible. What surfaced in recent days, the carefully